at least a few. I mean, if you don't get a few stink eyes, then how do you know you're doing a good job?
I
That's
would
the end
really
of the
be
day.
upset. Yeah, I would feel like a
Yeah.
failure in a lot of respects.
I mean, as well you should. If like what if you're not doing this for the stink eyes, what are you doing it for? You know?
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. Welcome to Reformgelical, where the Reformed and Evangelicals meet. My name is Matt Williams, hosted by the great AD Robles. AD, how you doing?
Yes, sir. I'm doing great, and I'm
Doing
looking
great.
forward to today's episode. We got a lot of crypto to talk about. We've got a lot of conspiracy theories to talk about today.
We do, and we have the Doge. That news broke today too. That fits
Doge
right
news.
in with the crypto.
Oh yeah, man. Doge is. I wanted to talk about Doge last week, and Doge was going to be accepted to go to the moon. If you wanted to go to the moon, you could pay in Doge.
Really?
That's what they were saying.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing.
Hey, listen,
So,
Tesla won't take Bitcoin anymore, but SpaceX will take Doge.
oh my goodness. Yeah, we need to talk about that. So, do you think that Elon Musk? So, okay, I'll set it up first. I think that would be the professional way to do it. So,
I agree.
Elon Musk started endorsing and getting behind Bitcoin, started accepting it to buy Teslas, and Bitcoin just skyrocketed, and it created not only like the increase of the currency for Bitcoin, but then I noticed other companies and other investors were also getting on board and creating this new commercial acceptance. I don't know how like corporate investment.
It
in
was more
Bitcoin,
corpo.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then today, was it today or sometime in the last couple of
yesterday.
days?
Yeah.
Yesterday. Thank you. Yesterday, Elon Musk said he realized, now grant you, he's an engineer, right? A brilliant engineer, allegedly. He realized how much energy Bitcoin takes to mine, and now Tesla is not going to accept it anymore.
Just suddenly realized. I mean, I get it. Like it's one of the primary criticisms of Bitcoin, but he didn't have time for any of that. Like he just realized it just yesterday.
Yeah. So my question to you,
And it
AD,
doesn't. Wait,
is-
Matt, stop. Let me stop.
Sorry.
It,
Okay.
it doesn't align with company goals, Matt. You see, what you don't understand is they've got a mission and and a mission statement. Matt, you're a business guy. You know about a mission statement, and
Yes.
and they've got them, and it doesn't. The fossil fuels and all that, it doesn't align with the mission statement. So they're not going to accept the Bitcoin payment. They are going to keep their Bitcoin though.
Of
So
course.
that still aligns, of course, with their mission statement, I suppose. But they're not going to accept it anymore.
Yeah. You know what? Okay, wait, let me ask you this first and then we'll get back to this, but I have a point about this that makes it even more ludicrous. Do you think that he knew he was going to get out and use this excuse before
Yes.
he made the announcement to go? Yes.
Yes. You don't even have to finish that line of thinking. Yes. And I think he'll do this again. I think he'll do it again.
He just did it with Dogecoin.
He's doing it with Dogecoin right now. Like,
Yes.
he's playing with people. I really do think he is. And listen, allegedly, this is my opinion. I don't know anything about Elon Musk, but the way he tweets and the way he interacts online, it's so cryptic that it's like he's got to be playing with people. I don't know who he's playing with, but he's playing with people. And
He's playing with Dogecoin people.
He's playing with Dogecoin people. He's playing with Bitcoin people. There's no way on earth that he did not know that the fossil fuels and all that stuff, the energy consumption of Bitcoin was an issue. There's no way he didn't know that. He knew that.
Of course he did. This was his tweet today. Working with Doge devs to improve system transaction efficiency, potentially promising.
Right. It's cryptic.
Dogecoin goes up 24%.
Right. He knows, and I think he has experimented with this, with what he says, how it affects the crypto markets. And I'm not saying this is necessarily legal. I'm just saying that he knows his power, and he can load up on Dogecoin if he wants to. Nobody knows because it's cryptic. It's crypto.
Yeah, it would be interesting to know if it is legal or not.
I don't know.
He's manipulating markets.
Clearly, he is manipulating markets.
Clearly, right?
But I actually asked this question, Matt. I don't know if you saw this on Gab. If it was legal to do the pump and dump with crypto, and and I got a lot of like, how dare you answers, how dare you criticize crypto? but nobody really knew. And I think that most people landed like the few legitimate responses I got was that like, they don't think there's like a specific law against it, but most courts would probably apply laws that already exist against it. So like, it's kind of a gray area. So you could pump and dump theoretically with cryptos and be okay. And who knows like what they would apply to crypto because it's just so new.
Right. And the honest answer, because we don't live in a nation of laws anymore, is if you're on their side, they won't apply anything to you. But if you are an enemy to them, then they will decide to apply whatever laws they want to make it stick.
Sure. That's a very good point.
Exactly
it's just kind of whatever is popular, they'll go with. And one thing about crypto that makes me very anti-crypto, even if I knew nothing about the tech, would be the fact that, MSNBC and CNBC, they love it. If they love it, then I don't want anything to do with it.
Right.
I always listen to Peter Schiff because I like his mentality. I like the way he operates, like his style. I don't agree with everything Peter Schiff says, but I like what he said. I like the way he interacts. But he says he watches CNBC as a contrarian indicator. So whatever they're talking about, he doesn't want anything to do with.
Yes, exactly right. I mean, that's Pravda in communist Russia back in the day. That's what they did.
Yeah.
And that's what we need to do too. Now, let me ask you this. What are the odds, do you think, that Elon Musk made some kind of investment in Dogecoin before tweeting that out?
Essentially 100%.
Right. Yes. 100%. 100%. And I'm just wondering, what could he add that Dogecoin wouldn't be able to figure out on their own? And why would he need to tweet it except to make money and manipulate the markets?
Yes.
And to even get the more ridiculous, going back to Bitcoin, is he is upset or he came to this realization yesterday that the electricity used is bad for the environment.
He just realized.
Wait, what was his first company? An electric car company.
He just realized this.
So are we done selling Teslas? Because it takes too much electricity?
I didn't really pay too much attention to this because I don't really care that much. But I heard that last year he lost money on almost every car he sold. Like every car, there was a loss.
Yeah,
so
remember,
I guess we're not buying these anymore.
Yeah, remember, he's made more profit from that Bitcoin surge than all of the stock car sales he's made in history combined.
And think about it, like if you're turning into a Bitcoin a speculating company now, like how could you really take Bitcoin for a car? Because think about it, like if you're taking Bitcoin for a car, and then Bitcoin goes up 10 and up and down 10% every day, basically. So like. Right. If you sell a car for Bitcoin and then the next day Bitcoin goes through the roof and then somebody wants to return the car for the Bitcoin, now all of a sudden you're giving them more Bitcoin. Like it's untenable if you're turning into a Bitcoin speculating company to sell cars for Bitcoin.
Especially when you're doing just-in-time ordering where you don't even have it on the showroom. You have to order it.
What
if they cancel the order?
Right. Well, I need a Bitcoin back. Yeah. I mean, it shot up 20%. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
I heard that they weren't doing that though. They were still pricing them in USD. They would pay you back in whatever they wanted to. Like I heard that the agreement would be if you paid in Bitcoin was that they could pay you back either way, either in USD or Bitcoin. Wow. So of course they're going to do it to their advantage, obviously. But then in that case, who would buy a car in Bitcoin?
Yeah, exactly. That reminds me of how like online poker was early on. They take all forms of payment. You could deposit your money, but you could only withdraw through a check in the mail, and it took 30 days or something.
Right.
Yeah,
exactly. So of course, with that, you're addicted, so you're gambling. So like you can't help it because you're addicted. With a car, it's like who cares?
Yeah, but Bitcoin, it's pretty much.
That's true. It's almost an addiction.
Yeah. And I was kind of bummed about us not having a show just because of how many Bitcoin news stories broke about freezing accounts, losing money, and things like that. But this really just shows the biggest flaw in it all is that you're trading currency of the dollar or whatever being manipulated by the Fed to being manipulated by oligarchs.
It's so crazy.
What's the difference? So you would rather have Elon Musk manipulate your currency
Sure.
than the Federal Reserve? You're
Listen,
just
if we
trading
were
one master for another.
right, that's exactly right. If we were in Saudi Arabia, Elon Musk would be Prince Elon Musk. You know what I mean? Like it's the
Right.
same exact situation. It's just that he's a corpo and not a prince.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right. Edward asked or said, I watched the interview with Eric Mason and Ruslan KD. I don't know who Ruslan KD is and couldn't get through the whole thing.
Yeah, so I didn't know who he was either, Matt, but I've been doing a couple of videos about him. Marcus had him on his show.
Okay.
So I guess he's a YouTuber. So he's a professional YouTuber, and also he's in the music industry in some way. I think he's like a producer or something.
Okay.
So he knows like all like the hip hop rappers, the reform rappers, and all that. So, but he's kind of woke, and I don't know. I guess people are just upset that he had Eric Mason on. I don't know.
Is he like up and coming guy? Why did Marcus have him on the show?
Well, he's popular, and so I think Marcus had him on the show because he's got influence. Like I don't know. I think he's got a legitimately popular YouTube channel.
Ah, gotcha.
Yeah, I had never heard of him either, but I'd heard the name, but I just didn't know what he was known for. Yeah, he seemed like a nice guy though. I don't know if you watched any of my stuff lately or Marcus's stuff. But he seems like a decent guy. He seems like he's got a decent head on his shoulders. He's definitely woke though, which is for me, of course, a problem.
Yeah, I watched your shows. I don't watch Marcus's shows. Don't tell him I said that. Basically, because I never know when they're on. He has no schedule whatsoever.
No, I almost said in one of my shows, I was like, I didn't even know he was still making videos.
Yeah, well, he wasn't for the longest time. He's out doing lore or whatnot. So
he's an entrepreneur now. Who knows what they do?
Yeah. So another thing I wanted to follow up on, and I don't remember if we talked about it. I don't think we did because this has happened in the last week or so. We talked about the Polish pastor from Canada.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That the SWAT team came back a second time. He shouted them out again. And I know we talked about that part, but then for those of you who haven't been following the story, he got arrested and dragged into custody in the middle of a street for holding a church service. It's actually kind of crazy what's happening in Canada. And I know it's not the United States, but I don't see any difference or any reason this stuff wouldn't start happening in the United States. Like, do you? Is there any big difference you see between Canada and us?
No. Here's what I'll say. So, I think that if the same thing happened, let's just even sidestep the issue of whether it would not happen. If it happened, it would be the same result. Nobody would do anything about it. Gospel Coalition would print articles in defense of the government, and everything would be exactly the same, essentially. So whether or not it would happen, like there's nothing in our DNA that would stop this from happening. And put it that way.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly right. I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. And I'm just going to throw this out here because I know there's some people that are looking to leave Canada and come to the United States, which I don't think that's a bad strategy at all, quite honestly.
No, I mean,
I think there are some safe havens still here that are better than Canada.
Yep.
So if there's any of you guys out there who own businesses, maybe it'd be worth like reaching out. And if you're looking to hire someone, can get a visa. I forgot what the exact visa is called.
TN1. I think.
Oh yeah, I forgot you're an HR guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that could be a great way for us Christians to help support Christians in Canada.
Yeah.
I know a lot of them are even fearful they're going to start losing their jobs over this.
Yeah.
And so, that could be just a great way that we can start using business for the glory of God in other ways. So something to think about. Just wanted to throw that out there. It's something I'm thinking about as well.
Let me say this, because I saw that video. I don't watch all these videos, but I did see the one with that pastor being arrested. And he's being arrested like an animal, like he's tried to kill someone or something like that. Like he needs to be, like you said, hogtied. That's exactly the right word. As if he's some kind of a beast, like as if he did some kind of violent crime. And and let's just face it, like this is what I think. I really do believe this. Like, okay, the government could lie about any of us, and nobody would even question it. It would be like they could say to this guy, like they arrested him like he was a child molester.
Right.
And they didn't say he was one. But the thing is, we're going to start to get false accusations on us. Like, well, that guy killed grandma. And you're going to be like, and you're going to be expected to believe, oh, he must have killed an old lady. And really what happened was he didn't have a mask on during church. And, that could have allegedly killed grandma, like stuff like that. Like, we're not going to even question it, but the real story is going to be something completely different. And it's like that guy's looking like he's a murderer as he's being arrested here, right? He murdered a little kid or something. And all he did was he didn't comply with their nonsense. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so here's the thing, guys. This is the point. They can arrest this dude. What's this guy's name? Arthur.
Yeah, he's a Polish guy.
They can arrest this guy. They can arrest Coates. They can arrest guys individually here and there, and they can lie about them. Oh, yeah, he's just belligerent. He's completely sedition. You can do that, but they can't arrest 1 million people. They can't arrest 100,000 people. And so this is why
unless they make camps.
I suppose they could do that. I suppose they could do that.
Yeah,
but
sorry, my Jewish blood started throwing out red flags there.
They're not going to do it all at once, man. Like they'll do this stuff because they can get away with it. But this is why you got to open your church, and if you're in Canada, it's time to, put your big boy pants on. It's time to have a little cojones and to open up your church to get this guy's back.
Yeah,
but you're not going to do it because there's a bunch of cowards in Canada, and that's just all there is to it.
Yeah, isn't there like 3 churches open? 2 of them have arrested pastors. And the third one, I'm just leaving open to statistically. I'm sure there's one open that I haven't heard of.
Yeah,
but they're all closed.
They're all closed, and then I get angry emails. Well, no, you don't understand. That Gospel Coalition guy, he's a good guy. He's a good guy. What evidence do I have of such things? You know what I mean? He's not a good guy. He's lying for the government. Right. If you're not going to open your church and you're a pastor, then you need to turn in your little collar or whatever it is that you wear. You need to turn it in because you're not a pastor. You're just an agent for the state. And
you're not a good guy. You're betraying the gospel. You're betraying the calling. That's not a good guy. You may be nice. You're not good.
Matt, the good person test where the way of the master stuff where it's like, are you a good person? Yeah, I'm a good person. Do you ever steal? Yeah, I've stolen. Okay, so you're a thief. Right. So you are the way you act. That's who you are.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So you're going to get your Christian brothers back, or are you going to continue to just cower in fear because the government's going to arrest you and all that kind of stuff? Look, they'll arrest a pastor here and there, but if every pastor in Canada opened up their church, okay, Matt, I'll give you this. Maybe they'd arrest you all, but I say bring it. Let's see it. Let's see you do it.
No, I think you're right. I think we're at a point where they couldn't arrest all of us. I totally agree with you there.
I don't think they could.
They couldn't do it. But that's not to say in a year that the camps wouldn't start being built.
Right.
And that's why it's important now to make these stands and stop giving excuses to people. Oh, they're a nice guy, or they really are trying to do what's best for the health of people. We are so far past that.
We're so far past that. And I've seen in the comments someone's like, that's not here yet. Like, people aren't getting arrested. Our friend Gabe Wrench got arrested for singing hymns outdoors in the United States. It's here. Unreal.
We had a president go through 2 impeachments based off of lies. The president. Right. It's here. Yep. There's
people going on no-fly lists. People can't bank. It's already here. It's already coming. And so you don't like Andrew Torba, so you're not going to stand for him. Listen, here's the reality. It's coming for you next, or maybe not. Maybe you're just going to capitulate all the way to the end. And if that's you profess to be a Christian and you're going to capitulate to the end, I wouldn't want to be you on Judgment Day. Let's just put it that way.
Right. Yeah. That's going to be far worse for you than anything these people are going to try to do to you. That's for sure. Some people are in the comments also saying that they wish they could make it down to the United States. They kind of want to leave. They're not sure. Guys, email me, matt@howtobuildatent.com. I've been kind of coordinating and trying to reach out. We've been passing emails around of people that are looking to get out of Canada. I'm not guaranteeing anything, but at least it's just something that we can be floating around and praying about. And I mean, more than happy to do it. It's kind of like the new Underground Railroad in some aspects of trying to get these people out of where they're going to be persecuted for.
It sucks, man. I mean, I read this stuff too. I'm looking at the comments right now. This person says, I'm in Canada. I would never have seen this coming even 6 months ago. And I get it, You don't think it could get this bad so quickly.
Mhm.
But the signs were there. Let's just face it. The signs are in the United States right now. We all see the signs. And even to me, to some degree, I'm in a little bit of denial. I don't think that they'll arrest everybody, but maybe they would try. I don't know. Maybe the government strikes me as very desperate all the time, and very paranoid. You know what I mean? Because they know that they don't have really any power unless it's granted to them. They know that, so they're always paranoid about any kind of threat. And so
Right.
I don't know, man. Like I hear you. I feel so bad for the Canadians, man. I get messaged all the time, and it sucks. It really
Yeah.
sucks. I don't really know what even to say.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to say this. We told you so. That's what I'm going to say. Maybe not specifically for Canada, but in the United States, we were talking about this in March of last year. March of last year, maybe April, where we were saying it's not going to just be 2 weeks. It's not going to be 45 days. It's not to slow the spread, that it's a power grab. And that has evolved all the way to today, where Joe Biden is saying you either get the shot or you're wearing a face mask the rest of your life. That's where we are now. You either get the jab or the mask. You pick. And it's actually kind of brilliant that this is the new way to get the golden star. Before, they just went to, you're a Jew, you get the golden star, we know you're unclean. Now, or the way they did it this time, is they gave the mask to everybody, and then they're taking it away from people that are loyal and are going to take the jab and do what they say, and the only people remaining are going to be the outcast. And you're going to get the star kind of like through reverse engineering.
Yep.
That's happened over a year of just 2 weeks, and then we'll give enough time for the healthcare workers to catch up to, you don't get to take your mask off in public unless you have the shot that we tell you need.
Yeah.
Crazy.
It's pretty brilliant. It's pretty brilliant. You know, I mean, when you think about it, you know, they can get people to comply voluntarily. And I think that's how they operate pretty much all the time. It's always voluntary. They need you to participate. You know, I always talked about this on my channel, like when they confiscated gold in, you know, back in the day, it was voluntary. Like they said, okay, it's now illegal. It's illegal to have gold, so turn it in to your bank. And like they weren't going to come to your house and get it. You know what I mean? They wanted you to bring it to bring it to them. And that's how it always ends up going to be. And the gun confiscation will be the same way. When they eventually do that, they're going to tell you to turn it over. And you know, maybe they come to your house, maybe they don't. I would bet that they don't. I'm not going to turn it over because I don't have any anymore. They all disappeared somehow. I don't really know. I mean, could have been aliens. We're hearing a lot about aliens these days. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. What are those UFOs the Pentagon's tracking down?
Yeah.
I don't know.
They must have taken them. I don't know.
Yeah. Hey, government, if you find out where they took them, let us know. We'd like to get our guns back.
I really like that too. I mean, apparently the Pentagon's tracking them, so maybe you can get those back for me.
Yeah. I can't wait from the next thing they want to distract us from, so we get more UFO information.
More UFO coverage. Yeah, it's interesting to me.
Yeah, absolutely interesting.
That dang boating accident, Montana Viking says. Yeah, I agree. You know, maybe it was that. You're right.
Yeah. Have you been hearing about all the incentives? Yeah, Jacob just brought it up that Ohio now has a vax lottery. Have you been hearing about all the stuff they're doing?
Oh, I heard about the lottery. So it's $5 million. They're going to give it to 5 people, $1 million each, right?
Yes, that's exactly right. And then
I like your comment. Sounds like it's going really well. People really want that vaccine.
Yeah, it sounds like it's a hit. And then Bill de Blasio comes out and is eating a steak and shake on TV. The guy who banned sodas is encouraging people to get free fast food for it.
Yeah. There you go. Get a steak. Listen, that's so cheap, though. I mean, think about it. You got the Ohio guy is going to give $1 million to you if you get it. Maybe. Mm-hmm. And then the other guy will give you a burger. What kind of nonsense is that? This is the Big Apple.
Yeah. That's what communism gets you. See, even their giveaways are terrible.
Even their giveaways are terrible.
Yes. They have no price to value mechanism. They don't know how that works. So
we don't even know if it's real meat anymore because they're doing the plant-based stuff now.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's not even a real burger. It's the Beyond Meat or whatever it is.
It's a Beyond Burger.
Beyond Burger. That's right.
I don't know what that
is. Because Joe Biden said that we're only going to be allowed to eat like 2 pounds of meat a year or something in his new Green New Deal plan.
Well, listen, this is
Ugh.
like I got chickens now, and before you know it, I'm gonna have cows back there. So I'll have meat. I'll be all right.
Oh,
No one's
80.
coming to
I
my
have
house.
myself eyeing some agricultural property on my move,
Oh, oh,
and it's
that's
very
not what
tempting. I'm thinking like it would be really cool to get cows, and I don't even think having cows on my property would be burdensome, but actually killing the thing, I don't know if I want to do
Dude, I was talking to someone the other day about killing a cow. So I was
that.
at actually we people that were at the Fight Laugh Feast conference with us, Matt, from New England. We all got together
Okay.
in Maine this past weekend, and one of the guys there, it's like an older guy, just a solid brother, and he was telling me about the story about slaughtering a cow, and I really want to try it. And he was telling me about it, and he said that it was a funny story because he slaughtered this cow, but he had to go. He forgot to bring a change of clothes because he's not used to it. He wasn't used to slaughtering cows,
I
and
could
he had
see
to go
that. Yeah.
home and he had to get gas on his way home. So he goes into this gas station, but he's got blood all over his hands, all over his shirt, his clothes, everything. And not only that, there was a state cop there at the time. So he walks into this gas station just covered in blood,
Uh-huh.
and he said nobody said anything. They just let him. They just let him do it. They didn't even ask him any
Really?
questions.
Wow. Was it like a rural area?
I guess so. Yeah,
It
probably
had to
that's
be,
what it
right?
was. But he was nervous as soon as he saw the state cop. He's like, oh
Yeah. I mean, I would be in jail. I would think I'd be in jail until the DNA test came back as
But
a
he said
cow.
it took hours. He said it took hours to slaughter this thing.
Really?
So
And
it's quite
hours.
a process.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
bet. How long? So do you slit the neck on cows too? Does it like just all animals? That's what you do?
I think so. Yeah, you slip the neck, and I think you gotta. Yeah, I don't. Honestly, I don't even know.
Yeah. I mean, a cow's big. It's not like
How are you gonna hang a cow? It's thousands of pounds.
yeah. And how do you get it not to fall on you? Like that
That's
could be terrible.
If anyone in the chat knows how to slaughter a cow, let us know. Because a chicken,
Yeah.
it's easy. They weigh a few pounds. Who cares? Like,
Yeah. Right.
a goat, whatever. But a cow, like, you can't lift a cow. How do you lift it?
No. See, that's the mistake I could see myself doing is forget the change of clothes. I'm like, okay, I'll give it a shot. I do it, and it falls on me, and I'm trapped.
And now you're done. Now you're
I'm
trapped.
done.
Yeah, I'll tell you, your wife's not going to save you. She can't lift that thing.
I can totally see. I'm a California kid, dude. I don't know anything about farm life.
Dude, you should get a farm. That's a good idea.
Oh man, I am. Yeah, I really think.
Score a few acres for the good guys, man. Bill Gates is buying all that stuff up. Score a few acres for the Christians, man.
Yeah. The CCP and Bill Gates. We got to do something.
I'm actually considering that too. I really want to do it. It's just expensive up here, like so expensive.
Got to move to Florida.
I know. Man.
Come on
I was
down.
talking to my wife about Florida just today.
Really? What were you talking about?
No, just how like there's really no pollen down there. Like there's a lot of our kids really suffer with allergies up here. It was like, we were thinking it might be nice to not have that.
Okay, you know how much I want you to come to Florida.
I'm just playing with you here,
Yeah. But I have to tell you, if there is a crazy amount of oak pollen, or the tree stuff,
Oak
that
pollen. Okay.
crushes me.
Is that
for
right?
2 months out of the year, like February and March, where I'm seriously snorting the
Brutal.
the antihistamines or whatever it is, the allergy stuff. I've never had allergies in my life, but because of how, at least I'm in Central Florida, maybe not in Cape Coral where you're going to move down with us because they don't have as many trees. But I mean, there's these, they're beautiful. They're like the oak trees. I forgot what they are. They have like the moss oak. But man, it's just 2 months out of the year, it is brutal, even with the medicine. So little heads up on that.
Well, I'll tell you what. So let me say this too, because I was just actually thinking about this when you said you're moving to Cape Coral. Because when I was at this party this weekend with the Fight Laugh Feasters, let me just say this, Matt. People really like this show. They like your show a lot.
Really?
The people that I was with, they're a fan of your show, man. So and they were excited to hear you're moving closer to Founders. They thought that was awesome.
Yeah, oh man, I was down there last weekend and just getting to know more of the community and being around just people so hospitable and just the culture they've already built down there. I'm really excited.
When is this
to be down
happening?
there. Well, my house is listed. I mean, we're showing it. It's terrible. It's miserable. We're out of the house like 3 or 4 times a day. So anytime now.
Man, oh, God willing, I hope that goes smoothly. Hey, somebody in the comments says that you use a tractor loader to lift the cow up.
Oh, there you go.
And Jacob says that his wife says you shoot a bolt into the cow's head.
Why does his wife know that?
Jacob doesn't know. His wife knows.
Jacob doesn't know it.
Maybe. We can't really laugh, Jacob, because we don't know.
No, yeah, no, definitely. I was more of like, wow, your wife's pretty freaking amazing. That's funny.
Man, that's funny.
Can
Yeah,
you ask your
tractors,
wife,
buy
Jacob, what kind of hunting rifle I should get too? Let me know. I'm in the market.
Oh man, that's funny. That's funny.
Yeah. There's a lot of pulling.
I thought I'd share that with you. I'm sorry, that was totally out of context, but I actually meant to message you that people were saying that they really like your stuff. So
yeah, no, that's great because honestly, sometimes I feel like I'm off the rails a lot of times with my show, with where we're at. Like, just a communist takeover coming. This is how we prepare, and I realize like this is turning into Alex Jones, the reformed version.
You're like the reform. You're like the Reformgelical version of Alex Jones.
Yes, exactly right. Yeah, there you go. Try not to yell as much, to be honest.
Easy on the steroids. Easy on the steroids. All right.
Yeah, I know.
I'm
going to be all
that guy's actually, that guy's stout.
He is.
He's like a cube. You know, one of those short guys, but he's really wide.
Right. Yeah. He's actually a really smart guy. Like, everyone that I've heard talk about him that knows him say he's really smart, which probably makes sense why so many people think he's crazy. Do you guys experience gasoline shortage in Florida? I believe we have. I'm going to find out when I go on a trip next week. Hopefully I don't run out of gas. But so we don't have the pipeline, but I think they ship it, yeah, through trucks. Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't, as far as I know, in New Hampshire, but who cares about New Hampshire?
Yeah, who cares about New Hampshire? No, I'm just kidding. Anyways, you're going to move to Florida, so who cares? Who cares? Have you been following any of the Arizona audit stuff that broke?
I was planning. This shows you how prepared I am. But I was planning earlier today. I said I'm going to take over the beginning of the show to start quizzing you on the Arizona audit, and that's what I want to know about. And I just totally forgot when we started. So
bring your questions.
Tell me about it. Please, what's going on, man?
Oh, okay. So there's this huge power struggle, as you know. I'm sure a lot of people have been hearing about this. Actually, I shouldn't assume that, because I know a lot of people that I consider plugged in who obviously don't listen to my show, but didn't even know this audit was happening. At all. But so there's the Maricopa County Republican Board of Supervisors, who is responsible for the election there, has been fighting the Senate the whole time. The Republican Senate. So we have Republicans fighting Republicans. The sheriff came out, who received $2 million from George Soros, and he's threatening to, bring his sheriff force into this. The DOJ came in and threatened and hasn't done anything so far, but there have found an estimated 2,000 duplicated ballots, which means they were adjudicated or they were damaged and they had to redo them. And so they basically transferred it on behalf of the person that had the destroyed ballot. They found 200,000 of them without the original ballot with it. So 12% of the ballots they're auditing are duplicates. That is not the original, without the original, which is required by law. So they could have just made those up. They could have just destroyed ballots that they didn't like and make new ones, and they don't have them tied together.
There's no way to verify, right?
There's no way to verify, and by law, they're supposed to be there. They're supposed to be with the one they're replacing, right? Okay, so that you can't just replace it with whatever you want the vote to be. 200,000 of them. Remember, Joe Biden won by 8,000. And his Senate seat was lost for the Republicans as well. Also,
by about 8,000, like a small number.
By 8,000. The admission came out this week that Maricopa and the Secretary of State didn't have admin passwords. Yeah, no one from Arizona had admin credentials, which is what you need to install things, remove things, check on things, all the things. Like, if you don't think that's a big deal, this is what I said on my show, is go to your company and ask for admin credentials and see if you get them.
Right. So imagine if nobody at your company had admin credentials to your company.
Yes, exactly right.
So that's the thing. So so you can't. Okay, you can't get admin credentials. Okay, fine, I can understand that. I'm just a peon. But imagine if you worked for a major corporation and then it came out that nobody at the corporation had the credentials. Nobody could verify anything. Nobody could check anything. Nobody that you've given your social security number to, your financial information to, your address, all this. No, none of them had it. They gave it to somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody that's highly suspicious.
Right. Highly suspicious. So we have this where the only people that have the admin credentials, which have the rights to delete files, change files, install programs, remove programs,
it's a private corporation.
Dominion. That was it.
Right.
The voting system software company.
Right.
Which Maricopa had 2 full-time employees from 2017 from Dominion that worked at Maricopa for the last 3 years. All was deal with this election. They also found they were leaking that the groups of ballots they had like a tag on them, which had the counts of how many ballots were there, were off between 15 or 17% in a lot of them and had an overage of 9% in one. So their counts are off by like 17% on average. That they say there's 200 ballots, but there's only 165. And they're finding missing ballots that were counted. And so there's that huge discrepancy. And so there's all these things coming out where it's evident to anybody who ever does any kind of auditing whatsoever that, one, Joe Biden lost, and two, there was a lot of shady stuff happening. And it's not even close to being done. I think they're 30% done with this so far.
So Matt, can I ask you this? So it sounds to me that there's like layers to this. Like there's not just like one discrepancy, one kind of discrepancy. It's like there's a lot of red flags. It's not just one thing.
Right.
Is that what you're basically saying?
They ran all the plays. And so trying to figure all that out. And remember, the reason why it's so significant that there's missing ballots where they said there was 200, but there was 165, is that right when the audit was coming out that it was going to happen, there was a huge barn fire from one of the Maricopa Board of Supervisors barns that went up in flames. And that was when the ballots were put on the truck, and it was like they lost the chain of custody and all this stuff. And so all of a sudden, just, magically this barn went caught on fire. Nothing suspicious whatsoever. And they also, the other thing that they found out is they have no chain of custody logs of the ballots. So they have no record of who had them, when they were secured, where they moved, and things like that, which is another big, huge flag. Oh, and the last thing is they deleted, or they thought they deleted, the databases that all the machines were referencing for counting 2 weeks before they were delivering the machines to them, which is called spoilage, which is another crime. So a lot of shady stuff's going on. It'll be interesting to see what happens from this. They're already talking about doing an audit in Pennsylvania like this one. They're doing one in New Hampshire right now. I don't know if you've heard of that one. Have you heard about that?
I've heard of it. Yeah.
But it's being done by 3 people that work for the companies that verify that the machines were accurate. So they're basically either going to say everything was wrong and we did a terrible job and you shouldn't hire us again, or we did a good job and nothing's wrong. Guess
we investigated ourselves and we found out that we did nothing wrong.
Exactly right. Yeah. And in fact, one of the people that are in charge of the New Hampshire audit was criticizing 2 weeks ago the Arizona audit, saying it shouldn't have happened. And he's in charge of the New Hampshire audit.
Okay, Matt. So let me ask you your expert opinion as a conspiracy theorist, an expert, professional, conspiracy theorist.
I feel like an expert now in this.
You're kind of an expert. I agree. That's why I'm asking you. This is your expert. This is your expertise. Okay. Yeah. So when I saw what happened on election night, I said, and I think I made a live video that night that said that this is the kind of thing where it's like they want you to know that they're doing this. Like they don't care. They're not trying to hide it. Like they just want you. They want it to be obvious. They want it to be obvious without saying it. So they want to kind of strike a little bit of fear into you. We can do whatever we want. That's what I thought. What you're saying to me, though, kind of strikes me differently, because it's like it almost sounds sloppy. It's like it almost sounds like, last ditch effort. I'm gonna go burn my barn with all the records, and then I'm gonna forget that I did this over here, and then I'm gonna forget that nobody had credentials over here. Like it almost sounds like a sloppy thing. So I guess in your opinion, would you say that this was like one of those things where they're trying to make you like let you know what's going down, or do you think they were trying to get away with it? Like they're just sloppy.
No, I think they were trying to get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
I think they have gotten away with it
Yes.
many times before. And
Yes.
I'm not just saying with doing this to Republicans. I think they've done this to Democrats as well. I think they did it to Al Gore for Bush Jr.
Sure, Bush. Yep,
And-
that's right.
yeah.
That's right.
So this is what happened. And I know this because there's this guy named Dr. Frank who Mike Lindell had on one of his specials. If you want to go look at the video, it's fantastic. It's on lindelltv.com. He's a physicist. And he's the one, I think we talked about it before, he cracked the code on the algorithm used. And he predicts with the algorithm he found, he's been able to predict in every county he's done, Florida, Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona, with 98% certainty, 98 to 99% certainty of how many people voted in each age group from so then the 20s and the 30s and the 40s and the 50s,
Okay.
how many people turned out. And he came up with that algorithm by taking the 2010 census and the voter registration rolls. And what they did, and this is what they've been doing, is they determine how many people are in the county and how many people registered to vote. And so when they need more votes in the machines, and they need to create more votes, they can't just like add the number. They have to add a person,
Right.
register them, and have a ballot to match, right?
Right.
So they find the people that never registered to vote and have them vote. And we've heard reports of a lot of people that went to polling places this last election, and people said they already voted from mail-in ballots, but they never did. And so what they were doing is these were people that never usually voted, and they didn't think they were voting.
They didn't expect them to go there and vote.
Correct. They didn't expect them to vote at all. And because typically, historically, with Barack Obama, with George Bush, with Bill Clinton, the second time a president is running for election, they get less votes than they did the first time. Like even Barack Obama got like 8 million less votes than he did the first time around. And he was like the most popular president until Donald Trump.
He walked on water, basically. Yeah.
Right. So even with the fraudulent activity that happened, Donald Trump got more votes this time than he did last time, which they didn't expect. And so what you see from Dr. Frank's analysis in all these different counties, he did this county by county in like 6 or 7 of the main states that were swing states. They maxed out and sometimes exceeded the populations of the county and districts for registration. And so what happened was when they realized they hit that limit, that's when the 5 states stopped counting. And that's when they lost it and started bringing in the ballots. There was a Arizona report back when they were doing the Senate hearings, like in December. There was a lady that said they had a truckload of 200,000 ballots every day for 7 days after the election. So what they were doing was stopping the official election and just throwing in fraudulent votes. They were doing the dead people voting and all this other stuff, whatever they could to overcome what Donald Trump actually got.
Sure.
And that's where the sloppiness came in.
Right. And so that makes sense to people that were paying attention at the time, because, you know, every state that was in question that had halted the counting, they all got more votes, and they all were for Biden. Like, it never went the other way. It was always that way. And so, but yeah, I get you. It's just like, how did they not expect this again? So in other words, the first time Trump got elected, they weren't expecting it. And then he's going to get elected again. They're not expecting it.
Yeah.
It just seems like so out of character, don't you think? Like, I don't know.
And that's why I bring back the point. Yeah, the first time he beat Hillary Clinton, no one was expecting it, right? But the second time
it wasn't outrageous. Like, it was like, okay, he won. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like he had got, you know, way more votes than anyone in history. You know what I mean?
Correct.
Like that kind of thing. Right.
Yeah, it was more like Hillary Clinton didn't get enough to overcome, right?
Yeah, she lost, basically, is what it was.
She lost. He didn't win that one.
Right.
Yeah. But the second time, like I said before, every president in history has got less votes. So they already had a margin in case he broke even. They had that, what is it called? a second plan, a backup plan.
Yeah. I
But
understand.
he got
a contingency plan.
a contingency plan. Thank you. Yes, they already had contingencies in place, but he got so many more. I mean, what the people are saying that were watching the count flipping happen, not including the destruction of ballots, not including the traditional fraud, that he got 80 million votes. And Joe Biden really got 64 million.
Yeah.
And I have a source.
A source? Like a cigarette smoking man?
No. Like a real source, like a reporter would have a source.
Okay.
Who said that our intelligence agencies were watching the flips happen on election night and didn't do anything.
Well, they probably wanted it to happen. They probably planned it.
Yes. Or their superiors said, don't do anything, and they just listened.
Right.
But they were actually watching the internet traffic, and that's what Mike Lindell has. He has whistleblowers from from the government who is watching it coming forward. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that.
It's so crazy.
So crazy.
All the stories that I've read, like I haven't gotten too deep into it. That's why I wanted to ask you about it. But like the stories that I've read, it's just so crazy the stuff that's happening to try to prevent the audit, and then it goes through, but then they're like still trying to jigger things a certain way and stuff like that. It's just it's just so like anyone who has a brain knows it doesn't pass the sniff test.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like when you have a piece of doo-doo, it's you can smell it. It smells like doo-doo. Like it's not chocolate, obviously.
Right. Yeah.
All you gotta do is smell it.
They've already been caught.
Why. Right. Yeah. Exactly.
It's just there's no mechanism to convert the justice right now. So it'll be interesting to see what happens to that. I mean, and also in Michigan, there's a court case of this election happening right now in Antrim County. Remember, Antrim County had the 5,000 ballot flip in a super Republican county. Yep. And then they blamed it on just human error, but it wasn't human error. Right. And the Dominion CEO testified to the Senate in Michigan that there was no internet access. And through discovery of this lawsuit, they found modems on the hard drives of the computers of the voting machines.
What worries me about some of this stuff is that, they have to understand that like normal people understand what's happening. They understand there really aren't elections anymore. You can't trust anything anymore. And so like they have to be getting paranoid. It's like eventually like we're just going to be like, nah, I'm not doing what you say. This is fake. This is fugazi. This is bogus. Yeah. And eventually if enough people think that, then there's not going to have enough power to continue. Now, I don't think that we've reached that critical mass yet, but let me say this to you, Matt. I've heard conspiracy type stuff from people that I would never have expected it from, that are like anti-conspiracy theory. Like but now they're starting to see it's like that was nonsense. What happened? That didn't really happen. That was a conspiracy, obviously.
Yep.
And if enough people start to act that way, I don't know what's going to happen because they're going to get super desperate and paranoid.
Oh, they are getting desperate. And that's why we're seeing such the push that we're having right now. And the communist takeover, and I truly believe that's what it is. We're seeing the same exact pattern in Venezuela. They stole the election just like that. We have the AP video clip of the Dominion VP over Venezuela saying that 1 million votes were fraudulent in the Venezuela election. And then they do the spending and the hyperinflation and all of these different things that are happening. Remember, last month we had 4.2% inflation for last month in April, which if that was every month, that would be 50% inflation in the United States annually. 50%. We're following the playbook of what took out Venezuela. Venezuela, before Hugo Chavez, was one of the richest countries in the world.
Yeah.
And then they had the fraudulent vote by Smartmatic, who is the shell companies of the Dominion. They're all interconnected. Had the fraudulent election, had the mass spending, had the high regulations, had the socialist programs, and it collapsed. That's what they're doing here. And that's why we have 50 executive orders from Joe Biden.
Right.
That's why we have flooding immigration right now. They're trying to run all the plays as fast as they can. That's why they're purging the military right now. It's because they know their time is short and they
wild,
need
yeah.
to control the power as fast as possible. And that's what we're seeing.
It's wild. Man, I saw a chart or just today, actually. I actually posted a video about it. And the chart was about retail spending in the US. And, it just goes up very steadily, and then the Great Recession, it goes down, and it takes 6 years to get back to that point where it was during the Great Recession right before. And then it has what happened in the coronavirus situation, and it goes sharply down. And then it goes back up to that point within 6 months. And then it goes 30% higher than that point in the next 6 months, which is like 6 years more of growth within 6 months. And it's like if you don't see a chart like that and go, oh, wow, inflation's here already. It's already here. I don't know what to tell you. If you believe the number of 0.8% inflation in April, I don't know what to tell you. It's obviously more than that. We understand that. My goodness.
Let me show you this chart that's going to blow your mind.
I couldn't even believe that chart. It was insane. Ay.
I'm going to put this on full screen to make sure everyone can see it. This is our M1 money supply.
It looks like the votes, dude. It looks like the Biden votes.
It does.
Doesn't it look like the Biden votes? It's the same chart.
This is what happened in Venezuela. So for those of you who are listening and can't see this, I'm going to explain this to you. This is how much money is in the world. That's how much money we've printed. And it goes back to 1960, which is basically it's zero. Yes. And then it goes through and it starts picking up in the 80s, which is where we had stagflation originally, 85, 90s, and it's just slowly going up. And then we had the Great Recession. And then after Obama in 2009, it continues to just grow a little faster and faster.
The angle goes up a little higher, but it's still gradual.
It's still gradual. I mean, it's still it's still a lot.
It's a lot, but it's compared to what you're about to say, Matt, it's gradual.
Yes, it's very gradual in comparison. And to be fair, to be bipartisan, this didn't go down during Trump. Trump spent just as much.
She sure did.
Right. And then you get to 2020 and we get up an elevator ride. I don't know how else to explain it. It's an elevator ride from about $4 trillion to $20 trillion from 2020 to 2021. That's all the stimulus programs, the bailout programs, to be bipartisan again, half of this happened under Trump.
Trump was part of this, a big part.
He's responsible for this. Now, I think he had a lot of bad advisors and he believed a lot of wrong people, but that he was responsible for it. But this is why we have 4% inflation last month. This should scare all of us.
Dude, this is insane. And by the way, okay, so we printed, we went vertical. We printed ridiculous money, and the economy's still sputtering along. FYI.
Well, this is the drug high. This is the kick and the fix you get. Yes. So when you're seeing businesses have record profits, it's because of this. But this is very temporary. Inflation bumps are temporary. Because it gets out of control.
Drug is exactly the right way to say it. It's like getting drunk. Yeah. So you get drunk and you feel like you could conquer the world and for a little bit. And then you feel like death.
Right.
And you wish you were dead sometimes. Yep. You get too drunk.
Mm-hmm. And what do? You look for the next hit.
Right.
Same thing in the economy.
And the thing is, in this case, though, when you're drunk, you usually went to the liquor store yourself and bought it. But here, you're being given it and saying that this is the way. This is the modern way. This is good economics.
Right. It's like you're in the insane asylum. You're not really crazy, but they think you're crazy, and they're giving you the crazy drugs, and you're trying to fight it. You've seen those movies. That's what's happening right now.
Right. It's insane, man, dude.
It's insane.
It's absolutely crazy. And yesterday, I think that the CPI numbers are fake, but even the fake number spooked the markets like crazy. And I have to say, imagine if they accepted what's really going down. You know what I mean? It would be insane. Like it's scary out there, guys. Protect yourselves. That's all I'm going to say. Do what
it's
you got
going
to
to
do.
get far worse.
Do what you got to do.
Worse. It's going to get far worse because what happens after this is they realize, oh, shoot, we have too much money out there. And they raise interest rates.
They have to.
They have to raise interest rates. Two things with that. One, you can't just pull the money back. That elevator ride that someone said in the Willy Wonka elevator jet ride, that's exactly what it is, the Willy Wonka ride.
Right.
That's not going to stop inflation. Raising interest rates are not going to stop inflation. So we're going to have what we had in the 70s, the stagflation, which is inflation and high interest rates at the same time. And what's worse is because of how much debt we have compared to GDP is so much higher than we did in the 70s. We're going to start defaulting on our debt because we can't service our debt at high interest rates. It's too much.
Yeah.
Which is going to cause conflict with the nations. And what are we seeing with the nations right now? We're seeing, as we're speaking right now, the Israelis are marching their tanks into Gaza. Iran is launching and shooting at our ships in the South Sea or wherever it is.
Yeah.
We have China building 3 airports to take out Taiwan, which will cut off all of our chip supplies. So we won't have vehicles anymore. We won't have computers anymore. We won't have iPhones anymore. Like, this is getting nuts. And what happens when economies collapse? Like the Great Depression. Oh, World War II.
Yeah. I mean, they have a couple of choices. They can raise interest rates, which is what they have to do, or they cannot, because they know that even raising them won't fix things, and they just keep going. But either way, it's a disaster. Either way, it's a disaster. So, we talked about Peter Schiff in the beginning of this. His opinion is they won't do it because they know it won't help, and they just won't do it.
I don't think they can.
I think they might try, but the thing is, every time they even talk about it, the market sells off. So, and then they lose their will.
Because when because there's no growth story. There's no growth story in the economy. We get a hack with our pipeline, and then what happens? The Michigan Democrat governor says, oh yeah, the second or the most busy pipeline in Michigan, we're not going to use that anymore. Shut it off. Thank God the company said no, which I've never even heard of in my life, where the government tells you to stop doing something and they just say, no, we're going to keep doing it. But like, that's the thinking of our leadership right now. We get a hack and, we're going to shut off this one too, because they don't want us using gas. So all of these things are happening. We have a bunch of fools leading us.
It seems like they're trying to crash the whole thing. Just FYI, in my opinion, it seems like
Venezuela. I'm telling you, it's a plan. Yeah. It's on purpose. Yeah. They're following the same model.
Yeah,
that's why we need farms.
Yeah, I think they're trying to crash the whole thing. I really do. And that's why you got to buy that land in Cape Coral that you're looking at, and get some cows. And you need to. There's a guy here in the chat who said he would offer to show you how to slaughter a cow. So you got to take him up.
Where do you live? Email me, matt@howtobuildatent.com. Make me a video. Seriously, my family's life will probably depend on it. It's crazy though. This is a good way to end. But France, I don't know if you heard about this, but I think it was like over 150 retired generals told not Trudeau. Shoot, the other one. Trudeau is Canada.
Whatever, the French guy.
What is his name? The French guy. He said, if you continue doing this, you're going to have a coup on your hands. They straight out and said it publicly. And, they were retired military. But then a couple weeks ago, the actual military came and said, hey, we agree. And they let out of jail Le Pen, who was the opposition party, which was the Trump. She was like the Trump nationalist person of France, right? And she's allying with them. And so that's going to be interesting. But that happened in the United States as well. Over 250 admirals and generals told Joe Biden the same thing. Said that this election was a fraud. You're not a legitimate president, and you don't have the capabilities to be president, and you need to step down. So we're starting to see people stepping up and saying this here. Oh, man. So Crazy times. Be praying. And this is the other thing, too, is, you got to prepare, but you need to also find Christian men that are going to stand with you at a local level. You need to be building relationships with your sheriffs and your mayors and get to a place that has like-minded sheriffs. That may be in a lot of ways our only hope.
God bless you, man. God bless
Macron. Thank you. That's his
Macron.
name. Macron. Thank you.
Good stuff,
Well, on that
man.
positive note,
This was great. And I'm very glad that you told me what's going on in Arizona. I follow it I follow the headlines. I don't really go into the nitty gritty. So I knew that there was, stuff and shenanigans and all that. But thank you for that, guy. That's really helpful. It's I didn't need the audit to know that it was a scam.
right?
But it's nice to have that information as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean, hopefully it starts stirring up some lesser magistrates. And I really like what I think maybe Marcus said it on the last Cross Politic or whatever. Is what we need is lesser magistrates to stand up and say, no, we're not going to play along with this sham anymore. You're not president. You're out. And we need to reverse all of these terrible things that are happening because it's purposely destroying us. And we may take it. But it's not going to be us as the militia to be able to overthrow a government. That needs to be people in the government that can rally, that we can support and follow. But it's not going to be us vigilantes on our own. The best we can do is form defensive militias and defend ourselves.
That's right.
So be praying for our leaders as well.
Yeah, that's such a good point, man. We can defend ourselves, and we can band together and repel an enemy. Once we start going, and doing beyond that, it's got to be at the levels that it makes sense to do that. It can't just be us with a bunch of rifles. It's not going to work that way.
Right.
Yep, you're 100% right. I love it. God bless you guys. Thanks for joining this fun conspiracy. This is a conspiracy theory show, man.
Yeah.
Today was like
we're experts on
almost 100% conspiracy.
That's all there is anymore. They're just a bunch of conspiracies.
If you didn't
have conspiracies.
That's true. That's right. That's all there is anymore. Like all you can talk about is labeled conspiracy. It's all true though.
Yeah, exactly right. All right, guys. Thanks for sharing the show. Appreciate it. Liking the show, sharing it with all your friends. We'll talk to you next week. God bless.
God bless.